What's up, guys? I just want to do another check-in with the Apple Vision Pro. I really wanted to focus on my normal workflow and how I work and whether or not the Apple Vision Pro actually fits within my normal workflow. All right, so just to take a look around, so what I've done to make life a little bit easier for myself, I've kind of mimicked my day-to-day setup in a way. This is kind of like my day-to-day setup on steroids, meaning this screen over here that we're looking at, this is being projected from my Mac Studio M1 Ultra. This machine over here, you see I kind of got some mundane tasks on it. Behind that actual screen is an older 5K iMac. I connect to a server and I upload content to third party. I can kind of check out a release schedule and things of that nature. I can check to make sure that the release is going well. This is online stuff that I do. So over here we got Frame.io, which I kind of use to deliver some of the content that I actually had being delivered to Vydia. And so these links were sent from out of here to the third party for them to download directly from here. Up here is some kind of like leisure time, right? Experimental stuff, kind of seeing what's going on with the whole AI thing, right? That's all coming from the Apple Vision Pro, which is pretty cool. This screen over here is obviously coming from the Mac Studio. You see, this is my normal desk, right? I have a server over here. I've got an audio interface. The Mac Studio is back there along with a monitor, and an iMac is back here. The issue is a lot of this isn't communicating. And again, all of this is coming from the Apple Vision Pro, but I wanted to communicate over here. What if I have main files that are being downloaded? I want to avoid exiting Final Cut to get some of these resources. Hey guys, Future Self here to pop in to explain that Frame.io actually is integrated fully into Final Cut. So any type of assets that are located within Frame.io, you do not have to exit out of Final Cut to get those assets. However, I did come across another workaround found within the Vision Pro, which is if we open up the Zoom app, we create a Zoom meeting, and then we add the other work machine, which is a second Mac, into the meeting, and we give ourselves permissions to control that Mac, we can download content directly from another third party, such as email, or here in this instance I'm using Kyber. So I can download the content that's on the iMac, drop it into a share folder, and without having to exit Final Cut on the Mac Studio, I'm able to import that content and continue working. The main purpose of this type of workflow is I do not want to have to exit Final Cut. I want to utilize all of the windows that we have within Apple Vision Pro in order to work more efficiently. We all know that sometimes you may do your due diligence in terms of setting up your project the proper way, bringing all your assets in to your events and starting to work, and then you get a text message or an email or a call from a client saying that they have more files. It may be a logo, it may be some music that they want to use, some pictures or something. And so you have to go and bring those assets in while you're working. And you don't want to typically break your workflow. And so this is an easy way to kind of continue to work within Final Cut, monitor downloads from another window, drop those assets into a network folder, and import them in seamlessly into Final Cut without having to exit the program. So ideally, I would be able to come over here, I would pick a place where I want the stuff to go. If you gotta kind of leave the program to go get the files because they're not where you want them to be, if I download something from Frame.io within the Apple Vision Pro, because I'm using Safari within the Apple Vision Pro, those things are going to go into the download folders, right? And then I have to in turn airdrop them over here and then go into my downloads, drop them into a folder, then import them in, right? And so that's not necessarily saving me time. I would hope in the future some of these updates would kind of allow you to directly download to the machine of your choice. So if you're connected via screen mirroring to a machine, that would be intuitive enough to download directly to that machine. Otherwise, you know, it's just cool. I'm able to observe what is happening with different applications, especially when you're doing like a mix, right? So I'm doing most of my stuff is stuff that I shoot with a cinema camera. I import it in. I have a specific workflow for that. And then the other major part of my workflow is delivery. So delivering content to a third party. You know, this one is released on the 2nd. This one is going to be released on the 11th. And so I can kind of check the confirmation. I can kind of come over here and kind of so I can let the client know we are good to go for the 11th, and maybe get a reply back from them. Yeah, I'm multitasking, but is it faster, right? And I love the idea of this setup. It doesn't necessarily accommodate for, hey, great. I got a reply back from Saeed, which is the artist that's going to be releasing. I'm glad he's up. He's out in California. I'm on East Coast time. So this music video is being released on his father. Well, it's a visualizer. It's being released on his father's birthday. His father passed away recently in 2023, and so the 11th is his father's birthday, and so that's awesome. You know, we kind of made that happen, right? So, you know, I'm getting stuff done. What about the other work I want to do? What if I want to download something from here, right? Let's pick a piece of content and then download it and kind of look at how that looks. I just wish that this file that's I'm downloading, right, would come over here. Yeah, it's only a couple more seconds. You know, it doesn't take that much more time. But it defeats the purpose of having a big window open, right? I don't want to have to exit out of what I'm doing, because oftentimes I'm working on something else. I'm up here creating, so is that coming over here? Yeah, it's coming up there. All right, cool. So I'll be able to show you guys that. I'll have something created, and that takes time. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 15 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm back over here in the editing program, and I'm working on something, right? And so if I want to switch gears and I want to work on something, right? I want to get those files. Well, I have a specific way that I kind of keep things. I don't just download stuff and import it in from the downloads. You know, you got to organize it. You got to put it in a specific folder so that later on, when you're working on this stuff, you don't have files all over the place. So that's great. This file, right? So it's being airdropped over here to my my Mac, right? So now I got to take this and move it over to the appropriate folder, which is this guy over here. Then come back to Final Cut and import it into the specific project that I want to work on, right? That is not efficient. That is not an efficient way of going about that. Let's see if I can't reply back to Saeed. It's nice to have things connected. It's nice to have things communicating. I don't want to have to go into like the Apple Vision Pro, go into its kind of file folder or whatever, and then pick a file and then airdrop it. The changes that I would request would kind of deal with the connectivity between the Apple Vision Pro and the main workstation that you're working on, in terms of seamless downloads of content. That's kind of how I work, and I think that the equipment that you use, it shouldn't constrain you. All right, guys, I've rambled on enough, and I hope I kind of explained my workflow to you guys. Thanks for listening. Peace.